Okay. Hi, everyone. Good to see you tonight. We're going to wait a minute or two till some people join us before I get started with my little talk and debut of the Strippy Improv winter patterns. So I don't know about you, but I live in Michigan, so I've been experiencing first the snow and then the crazy cold. This morning the wind chill was still negative 20 degrees, which is definitely chillier than we're used to here. So looking forward to getting back to some regular winter weather. If you've been affected by the cold and are burrowed up inside quilting or crafting, give a thumbs up on the video post and let me know that I'm not the only one hiding inside. Yeah, and I've got 3 school-age kids, and they had Friday off for snow, Monday for Martin Luther King, and then Tuesday and Wednesday for cold. So I am cheering for them to go back to school tomorrow for sure. I tell you, these kids are going to be going to school till 4th of July with the way the weather's been this last week. So we're going to wait just another minute and see if we collect some more viewers before I get started, so people don't miss the beginning. But I'm really excited about what I'm going to be sharing tonight, because I've had this idea for about 2 years, and just with all the other things going on in life, it took me a while to finally make it happen. So I'm excited to be sharing it tonight in this Facebook Live. Oh, Susan says chilly here in southern Ontario. I bet. Kansas City too. Yeah, I saw that the football game the other night, where it was Saturday night, where it was so freezing cold. I love football, but I would not have wanted to be at that game for sure. So anyway, we can all warm up by talking about Strippy Improv Winter. I've got actually all 3 of the designs I have tonight have a little bit of a warm theme in common, which was really more luck. I had no idea that when I was going to be launching this, it was going to be so cold. So I'm going to start out by giving you just a little bit of an intro about myself and Strippy Improv, and then I will get on to debuting the projects, talking about which ThermOWeb products I use to make these, and some tips that you can use for doing Strippy Improv yourself. So my name is Lisa Ruble, like I said. I design under the name Quilty Zest. I've got my t-shirt here with a wonky star on it. I've been quilting about 25 years, and I got into modern and then into improv quilting probably about 11 years ago, and I really enjoy that aspect of quilting. I was never big into applique, which will make you laugh as I talk about what I'm doing tonight, because now I am, just a slightly different version of it. But I worked for 8 years as a quilt magazine editor, and I still spend my time writing, designing, editing quilting patterns, and doing other things within the industry. So quilting is both my job and my hobby. And I got hooked up with ThermOWeb, I think now about 4 years ago, actually right after I started doing these Strippy Improv patterns, because I enjoyed the product so much for what I was doing. So Strippy Improv is a combination of reverse applique and improv piecing on a foundation backing. Now, I know when I say it like that, it sounds scary, but I'll show you what it looks like, and it's not as scary as it sounds, I promise. And this first came to pass with this postcard that I made for a guild holiday challenge that was several years ago. And we were supposed to, it was during COVID, and we were supposed to create a postcard to send to one of our guildmates since we were not having a holiday party. And so I wanted to do a treat and started playing around with how I could have piecing and applique at the same time. And I realized that reverse applique was the way to go, because I could do all my piecing underneath and then add the background on top. And now if you look real close, and I'm not sure if you can see it through the video, but the background is a lighter gray white, and you can see the green piecing through it. And that's something I learned to solve, but did not for this first one. Excuse me just a second. Okay. So after I played around with this for my guild, I realized that I had so many possibilities that I could do with this Strippy Improv concept, that I could take any recognizable shape and create some piecing behind it and just create a lot of fun opportunities. And it started out with Strippy Improv Holiday, which is a pattern that I put out. It has these ornaments in it. It's now up to 11 different block designs with the templates included in the pattern. And you can see a version of it behind me with the 9 blocks on it. Now all of these blocks are made with the reverse applique technique fused onto this Strippy Improv background. And from there it went to Halloween. And here is my little Halloween wall hanging, and you can see I've got a ghost, a witch hat, a pumpkin, and a bat. And then moved on to circles, hearts, stars, and now in 2024, the Year of Strippy Improv series. And my idea with that basically is to have a themed project each month, but grouped by season. So right now I'm doing winter, and I've got projects for December, January, and February. And they will all use the Strippy Improv technique with a specific block for each month. But then each project will be finished into its own thing, not just a wall hanging with 4 blocks or 9 blocks or whatnot. So I'm going to start out by showing you the winter mittens. Very appropriate right now. We could all use a pair of these. Now, I am not a knitter or a crocheter, and not likely to become one because my fabric obsession is large enough. I can't break out into another fiber art. So this is probably the closest that I'm going to get to ever making my own mittens. But you can see we've got 2 mittens on here, and I did a rickrack string that combines them together and made them into a cozy throw pillow that can sit out all winter long because it's not holiday themed, it's just winter themed. And in these I used these really cute dazzle dot prints from Krista Watson for Benertex, and you can see my mittens look striped. And what's fun about this technique is that you can choose what to make your shape, in this case the mittens, look like based on the fabrics that you choose. If you go all sort of turquoises or blues or whatnot, you would have a more tonal look. I did a kind of a multicolor stripe. You could do red and white, you could do rainbow, but it's all about the strips that you add and the order in which you add them that creates those fun looking mittens. And then the next project is the hot cocoa mug. Now, if you're a coffee fan or a tea fan, you could absolutely use it for one of those. I personally am a hot chocolate fan, so that's how I envision mine. But I was talking about how I made the mittens striped, and you can see here I chose 4 different goldish yellow, or 5 actually, different goldish yellow fabrics that all sort of read same value. They're all patterned, but all in the same color area. And so when you back it away, you just get the look of a gold mug. And then this is actually a double reverse applique because I've got the gray background around my mug and then this circle orange around it just to give an interesting shape to the project. And then my whipped cream up here is actually regular applique, not reverse applique. And if either of those terms are something you're not super familiar with, I'm going to do a demo a little bit later on and I'll show you exactly what they look like. So the actual project in the pattern for this is going to be a table runner like this that has 4 blocks and piecing around it. But I just made one for tonight because I think, especially with it being a mug, it would be such an adorable mug rug to give as a gift or a little hot pad for the kitchen, because there's so many people that are huge coffee fanatics or tea or hot chocolate, and so this will resonate with a lot of people. And it's just a super quick project that you can put together. See, I found a fun little yellow and orange dot for the back as well. And so my third project, which is for February, is, of course, hearts. And this is the romantic table for 2. It's placemats that you can create and use for Valentine's Day or year round. And now what's a little bit different about this project than about the other 2 is when I cut out, I'm looking at this backwards, when I cut out the the heart shape to use this dark red background over my piecing, normally I don't do anything with that middle piece, but in these placemats, I actually use the middle piece on the block next to it. So you've got applique and reverse applique mixed together, and then some more improv piecing on the sides. And for this one and the others, you can see I just do straight line quilting. That's because while I love the fancier free motion quilting, I'm not that great at it. But I really love the fact that straight line creates that great texture for it, but is pretty easy for anyone to do. I do my first line following along a seam, and then I just use the sewing foot as a guideline to make the other lines. So I don't have to mark it at all, and my lines end up pretty straight. So this is the third project in the Strippy Improv Winter series. So I'm working on the pattern right now, but when it's available, it will include all of the instructions and the templates for creating the mitten pillow, the hot chocolate table runner, or if you want a mug rug, and then the Valentine placemats. But what's also fun about these projects, because the blocks are all constructed in a similar way, is you can swap out one shape for a different shape if you want to mix and match a little bit, which is a lot of fun. So let's talk a little bit about the ThermOWeb products that I use. So first and favorite is the HeatnBond Lite Sewable Fusible Adhesive. Now this is the product that I sort of re-stumbled onto when I started doing Strippy Improv. This is the fusible webbing that I use, and I had run out of whatever I had on hand because I didn't, like I said, I did not applique much. So I went to my local quilt shop and asked, you know, which one do you recommend? And the quilt shop recommended this, and I came home and I've been a fan ever since. And here are the couple reasons why I like this. First of all, it sticks really well, which is definitely something you want for a fusible, so that you know that it's not going to come up down the road. But for me, one of the most important things is it's super easy to peel off after you've fused it, the web to your fabric. It's super easy to peel the paper off of the back without fraying the edge of your cut piece, which is something I've struggled with. And then the third reason is that when it's fused on, you've pulled the paper off, it has a really shiny appearance. And that sounds funny, but a lot of times it can be hard to tell which side of the fabric, especially if it's, say, a solid, that you fused the webbing to. And because this is so shiny, it's very easy to see which is which, so you don't accidentally end up fusing a piece to the bottom of your iron, which is something I think many of us have done and is definitely not a good feeling. So this is my go-to product for all of the reverse applique, and in a little bit after I finish talking about the products, I'm going to show you how I use it. And my second is the Fusible Fleece, and I love using this as my batting for small projects because it's 22 inches by 1 yard. And so it's great for small projects and just the convenience of having the fusing element in it. So I can cut a piece the size of my quilt top or my placemat or my mug rug and fuse it in place with my iron. And I've already got half of the basting done on my project. It's really convenient, super easy. Now you notice I said I have half of the basting done. And product number 3 is the basting adhesive. And this is because the Fusible Fleece is a one-sided fusing product. So when I go to secure the backing to my project, I use this basting spray, and that will hold my backing and hold all 3 layers together. They'll be sandwiched nice and tight so that I can do my machine quilting on top of them. And so I use this on big quilts as well. I used to be a pin baster, which if you're doing a larger quilt is a really arduous process where you're on the floor and you have your quilt backing taped down, and then you're putting pins in every 3 or 4 inches, I think. And basting spray solves that problem easily because you don't have to be on the floor and you don't have to put in every pin. You just do a bunch of spraying. And then the last product, I told you when I showed you this first one that I came up with, that you could kind of see the the green strip piecing behind the background fabric. And that's where this fusible interfacing comes. I've used the lightweight and the medium weight for this, just depends on which one I happen to grab. And what you do is you put this on the back side of your light colored fabric, and it provides an extra barrier so you don't have to worry as much about a dark fabric showing through. And I will show you that in a minute, and you will see how great that is. Okay, so now I'm going to just tilt the camera down a little bit so you can see my surface here. Sorry you won't see my head anymore, but you can still hear me. And I'm going to show you how one of these goes together. So this is my Strippy Improv piecing section that I've done. This is to do another one of the coffee mugs. And you can see I've got a muslin background and I've got all the strips on it. And if you're looking at this and feeling like you're not being able to write down notes fast enough, I've got all the information on how to do this in each of the Strippy Improv patterns. I'm just giving you a quick overview tonight so you can see how it goes together and how easy it is. So I've got that piece that I'm going to lay down flat, and then here is my background piece. You can see it looks like a teacup or a coffee mug or a hot cocoa mug, and then on the back you can see I've got the fusible shape, and I don't have the fusible going all the way out here because I don't need it to. I just need enough that it will stick to this piece. So, and I've cut out very carefully my teacup shape, coffee mug, whichever you want to call it. And this is one thing to get used to, because when you're doing regular applique, you're cutting out your heart shape or your mug, and you don't care about anything around the outside because you're just throwing that away. And this is the opposite, where we care about the outside. We care about the reverse shape, and what we're getting rid of is this part in the center. So you have to change your thinking a little bit for how you do it. So what I'm going to do is pull the paper backing off. I don't know if you can see through here. Oh yeah, you can totally see the shine that I was talking about. See, isn't that nice? And then I'm going to lay it on top of my piecing and get it exactly where I want it, and take my iron. And this is very important, and it's a thing for quilters, but we're not all good at it. You have to make sure you don't move the iron. You're just going to press and lift, because if you move the iron you might snag the edge of the fusible and then you will have a mess. So it's just press and lift and press and lift until it's on. Now I'll go back and do that more later, but I want to keep showing you stuff, so I'm going to lift it up, and it's pretty much secured. I didn't spend as much time as I usually would. So you can see there's my teacup shape, and then I've got this little bit which is going to help create my handle that you see here. So I've already got this fused and taken the paper off, so I'm going to position that where it needs to go and put the iron on it. I'm getting over a cold, and I feel like my raspiness is getting raspier the more I talk, so sorry about that. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is when I talked about using the interfacing to help block the light colors. So I've got this white for the steam, and then I've got a layer of fusible interfacing, and then I've got my little steam shapes drawn onto the paper side of the HeatnBond Sewable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down my interfacing and put the fabric on top of it, right side up, and then press that to secure those two layers together. And this will make sure that my white fabric is not as see-through as it would be otherwise, because it has a different layer behind it. So when it ends up on this gray fabric, you won't be able to see the gray through the white. So now that I've got those two layers together, I'm just going to add my little steam shapes, my three little steam shapes, and then press those as well. And after all of those layers are fused together, I'm going to cut them out, and I will end up with 3 shapes like this. This is what I'm talking about when I say the steam, and you can see it here. I made the coffee mug with the hot chocolate, but there you can see the little steamy pieces. So I'm going to take those and position them shiny side down on top of my hot chocolate mug. And then when I'm happy with the position, again, I'm going to put the iron down and let that fuse it into place. Now while that's fusing, here is my background piece. You can see I've got the reverse of the circle cut, and I'm going to again peel the paper off of that. I've got the Fusible adhesive on the back. And so this is what it looks like right now. I've got my cute little coffee steam and my cocoa mug. And now I'm going to position the circle on top of that and get it all centered and get the top layer laying flat, and then go around and press around that outside edge. Now I'm going to put this back up. The most common question I get about this technique when I post about it mostly on Instagram is, do you sew down those edges? And the answer is absolutely yes. This Fusible is great and it holds well, but especially if you're making a project that's going to be handled a lot or used a lot, for example, like the placemats or a table runner where you'll be washing it, you definitely want to stitch down the edges. And sometimes I do it with a straight stitch, just very near the edge of the reverse applique, because I want it to be more subtle, and I'll use a coordinating color thread. Sometimes, especially if I know it's going to get a lot of handling, like I made a baby quilt once out of this technique, I'll use a zigzag stitch, and you can use a wider one or a narrower one depending on what you like, but that's a great way to secure those outside edges and just help to ensure that over washing and wear you don't end up with fraying. So here is my block. So like I said, the next thing I would do is stitch around both the edges of the mug and the circle around the outside to secure those layers in place. And then after that, I would square up the block itself and then decide how I was going to use it, whether it's a mug rug, hot pad, into the table runner, all kinds of exciting choices for that. And the pattern does come with both these little steam tendrils, as well as my personal favorite, the hot cocoa, or sorry, the whipped cream, which is how I like my hot cocoa. So that is a look at my Strippy Improv patterns and the preview to the 3 winter designs. And I see Dawn has been posting some things in the comments, which is great. Thank you so much, Dawn. There's a blog post on ThermOWeb's blog, and I've done one on my own as well that are sort of companions to each other. The other Strippy Improv patterns are already available for sale in my Etsy shop, and when this new one is available, I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks, by February 1st, I will be sending out an email to all of my newsletter subscribers letting them know, and there may just be a discount code in there as well, but to give them first-hand knowledge that the pattern is available, and the pattern will include all 3 of the designs you saw here tonight: the hot cocoa mug, the Valentine placemat, and also the mitten pillow. But whether you're interested in the pattern or just want to follow along on my Strippy Improv journey, I hope you'll sign up for my newsletter so that we can keep in touch. But you'll definitely be seeing me here in the ThermOWeb craft room. I'll be doing some more Facebook Lives, as well as creating tutorials for the blog. So I want to thank ThermOWeb for having me here tonight. It was a lot of fun to get to talk about my new pattern that I'm super excited about, and talk about how I've used their products to really make my patterns work in their best ways. So thank you so much. Are there any questions in the chat that... Oh, question about the kits. Yes, I am in the process of setting up kits of fabric to be used for these different Year of Strippy Improv patterns. And so that information will also show up both on my blog and in my newsletter about where you can get the kits, and it will be the fabrics. So the ones that I did tonight are ones that I created using scraps that I have just in the colors I wanted to do. But I'm going to be using the Shadow Blush collection from Benertex, which is a great tonal with a range of, I think, 100 some different colors. And so I'm going to be using those and creating each of these designs using those fabrics. And there will be kits available for that. And then, of course, you know that you can get your favorite ThermOWeb products off of the ThermOWeb website, as well as in your local quilt shop, hopefully. And if they don't have them, you ask them to carry it. Let's see if there's any other questions. I think that is it. Great. Well, thank you so much for having me. Have a great night, and hopefully those of us in the cold will warm up soon and we'll see the sunshine again. Bye.